there, I'm Big Alias, and get hyped, everyone. Hey, Xbox have acquired Bethesda. Everyone, get hyped. Please. No, I understand. I totally understand, man. Yeah, whoa, Bethesda, Xbox. I mean, that seems to be the way that they're treating it. I'm really surprised. Honestly, really surprised at the way that Xbox have been advertising this deal and sort of making the most of it. Usually, companies are a little more subdued about acquiring another company and sort of taking over because it kind of makes you out to be the bad guy and the big bad boogeyman. And I guess that kind of feeds into what I'm going to be talking about later, in that this deal kind of, I don't know, it breaks the mold in a way. It actually sort of proves something by not... Oh! Wow! Those waveforms were bigger than my dick. They were 0.7 inches. It kind of proves something by not acting in a way that other things do. Okay, that's going to make more sense later. But first, let's just run through a situation. So Xbox, Microsoft, whatever, did acquire Bethesda for, I think, $7 billion. So, you know, when all of those 13-year-olds tell you that the Xbox is down the drain and is dead, just remember that they have enough money to spend $7 billion on a company. What a dying company that must be. That's ridiculous. But yeah, so they do have Bethesda now, and the deal has gone through, and it's happened. And now, I, as a Game Pass subscriber, have a ton of new games to access, which is cool. I mean, it genuinely is really cool. They've added a bunch of Bethesda titles to the Game Pass. Not all of them. Not every Bethesda game has been added, but I think 20 have been added. Unfortunately, I fucking have most of them. And I've played most of them. So I think I ended up downloading 4 games. I ended up with The Enemy Within, Wolfenstein Old Blood, and 2 Doom games. Doom 2 and Doom 64. Doom 2 and 64 are so good, man. They are really good. 2 is tremendous. I mean, it's just as good as 1. And 64. Man, why don't more people talk about 64? Why isn't it, let's say, a hidden masterpiece? That game is so fucking good. I had more time playing Doom 64 than I did a lot of FPSs. The guns feel amazing to shoot. The environments are awesome. It's a really, really good game. Unfortunately, I don't know if I can say the same about the other games. Well, was it The Evil Within and Wolfenstein Old Blood? Not Young Blood. I played Young Blood, which was atrocious. Which is one of those games where Xbox are advertising it as, hey, check it out. Wolfenstein Young Blood, that game that nobody likes, is on Game Pass now. It was always on Game Pass. I played it through Game Pass. I hated it through Game Pass. It's an awful game. Old Blood, I also don't like. And I loved Wolfenstein The New Order and Wolfenstein 2. Oh my god, that game's awesome. Outside of the new Doom games, that's some of my favourite FPSs of the past few years. Really, really tremendous games. Old Blood sucks though. I didn't like it. Well, what I played of it so far. I played very little though, so don't let that be a definitive opinion. And the same goes for The Evil Within. However, I mean, unfortunately, they're both in this situation, ironically, where they suffer from the same issue, but they're not made from the same developer, where I know there's a way past the enemies, but because they force this kind of not very good stealth, both of the games do this. What is going on with I'm burping now. When is the demon gonna leave my body? They both have these terrible stealth systems, and it's not fun getting past the enemies, so I don't really want to do it. And that's the roadblock I'm facing with both of those games. At the moment, I don't like either of them because I haven't progressed in any way. I think on The Evil Within, I'm literally on your first encounter when you have a shiv and you see a big dude and you head up to him and you shiv him and then he just gets you. What do you do? What do you do? I collected keys. I did that. Is that the secret to the game? Do they have the winning Monopoly numbers printed on the back and then you can buy yourself a mansion and get yourself out of this horrible horror situation? Or maybe the code to deactivate Leatherface? I don't know. I don't get it. It's not. I don't like it. But yeah, no, it is cool. It's cool that I've got all of these new free games. And, you know, if you haven't played these games in the past and you have Game Pass for whatever reason, then yeah, it's cool. I mean, you get to play them. There is also Dishonored 1, which I don't think was on there. and a couple of others which I personally pay for myself as, you know, full-on copies that are now on there too, which is great. Yeah, although I'm finding it hard to be excited. It's one of those weird things, exclusivity, where the internet's very weird with it. It's not something you should be getting excited about. It's not something we should be hyped about. If I love a game, like, say, for example, the greatest game ever made, Halo 3, if I like that game, which I do because it's the greatest game ever made, Halo 3, if I like that game, I want other people to play it. I want other people to have the chance to play it and popularize it and keep it, you know, in people's minds, and a big deal. I want that ability. An exclusivity deal is just going to stop that from happening. No, I'm not going to get excited about it. And I know why people do. It's the protection of their investment. I get that. You know, you just spent £450 on a games console and you want some reason to have it. However, if Halo Infinite was on the PS5, that reason would still exist. That's the part that confuses me. The reason is still there. If I bought an Xbox Series X back in November, which I wish I fucking could have, if I bought one then, and then Halo Infinite finally comes out next year, I'm going to be happy. Of course I am. But if it had come out for the Series X and the PS5, I'd be like, oh, that's awesome. I still get to play this awesome, hopefully, awesome game. And that's where it gets kind of weird. There's no benefit for you for exclusivity. Yeah, you get the game, but it's a game you already would have had. Dark Souls Remastered being exclusive for the PS5. It was always going to be yours if it's on the PS5 and the Series X. It's purely bragging rights. But it's not bragging rights for you because you don't own the franchise. You don't get any share of the profit. The only bit of bragging rights you get is, oh, hey, check it out. I bought a console that happens to have this game on it. But there's no foresight there. You didn't know what was coming. When Thor Ragnarok comes out, it's not Thor Ragnarok, it's God of War Ragnarok. If only there was some sort of similarity between those two things. When God of War Ragnarok comes out, you can't claim bragging rights because you have the foresight to know that it was a good game, because no one yet knows whether it's a good game, and no one knows whether that's going to help you protect your investment. It's dumb. It's all so stupid. And it's this weird thing where as gamers, man, like, we're conditioned to expect so little to be thrown at us. I mean, this is what we're clinging to. We're clinging to our investments not being wasted. We're not looking for things to, you know, excite us and get us all pumped up. We're just looking for anything that isn't going to disappoint us, that isn't going to, you know, make us feel as though we've wasted our money on these consoles. And even if that means getting hold of a game that you would have had anyway, but the competition don't. Therefore, that £400 that I would have spent on a different console anyway was the right £400, so I get to feel good about it. Man, that's kind of lame. That really is kind of lame. And as a Halo fan, I know exactly how that feels. You know, a lot of people seem to think that Halo fans want the world and they expect everything, but in actuality, what we want is very simple. We want something that feels old and fresh. Two things, really, just one thing. That's all we are asking for, and it kind of feels like that's kind of carrying over to the whole of gaming, I guess. I guess we're just so conditioned to negativity that, man, any pat on the back that we get, well, congratulations, you bought a Series X and now you get Bethesda games. That's supposed to be a feeling of affirmation. It's supposed to be this incredible feeling, and it's dumb. I would rather that both consoles get the games as long as they're good, especially when it comes to games like Doom. Man, I really don't hope the next Doom game is Microsoft exclusive, because I want it to be popular, I want it to be a big deal, and I want it to make enough money to justify sequels, because it is such a good franchise, and probably my favourite new FPS is these reboots, and I want it to continue that way. So in order for that to happen, it has to be popular, it has to be a big deal. Jim Sterling does some great videos about these, if you go back to their old videos, and they relate this to Dark Souls and Demon Souls, where people talk about how there shouldn't be a difficulty level because only I should be able to enjoy it, and they talk about how it's a masterpiece. This game is an absolute masterpiece, a tremendous, brilliant new way of making video games, and no one else should get to play it but me. And it's such a dumb way of looking at things. So they do a great series of videos about this, which are far better and wittier than mine, so absolutely go and check those out. But yeah, this was a nice little chat. I didn't really get too overworked, and didn't really get too deep. I just think it's silly. But yeah, I will see everybody next week. I already have a video lined up, so I will see you next week for that one. And I guess I will see you later.